Hello, hi, and welcome to EmpathicFire. I am your reader, Jay. These are going to be general messages for the sign of Pisces in mid-April 2020. What's going on, Pisces? How are you guys doing? I hope you are doing well. All right, my friends. How's everybody? How are you doing in this this pandemic, this quarantine, this being, in my case, I think I'm going into my 7th week of quarantine. So I might as well round that up to about 2 months. Most of us have been out of commission in some sense or in some fashion. So wherever you are in the world, Pisces, I hope you're okay. I hope you're hanging in there, hanging tough. I know it's very trying, but ultimately it's for what I believe is our greater good in order to combat an unknown, well, not an unknown disease, but a disease that doesn't have much of a cure or a vaccine at this point. It's just, I don't know why I have to open your video this way, but I'm getting the sense that maybe some of you are just like to the breaking point and needing for things to get back to normal. And I understand that people would want that more than anything else, or why people would be drawn to feel that way. But I believe in science, and I believe in the wellness of people, and I believe that you know the sacrifices now are going to be a little bit better for us in the long run. But that's just my personal belief. Hopefully, no matter what you believe, you are doing well, and that you're coping as best that you can. So let's get into it. Pisces, if you're a returning viewer, you're noticing something different here. I'm changing up how I do the mids, especially in April. I might keep it around for May. It's going to mimic still a general reading, but it's going to mimic how I do my personals. It's a little bit sort of off the cuff or kind of more a stream of consciousness, or just I'm going to be like dealing or dealing. Wow. I'm going to be shuffling live here on the camera and everything like that. So it's going to be slightly, like I said, mimicking a personal, but it is still very much a general reading. So I have meditated off camera. So everything that we need to know is already in the deck. We're just going to have to pull it out one by one as we go along. And if you guys are interested, the timestamp is already in the description box, so you can jump ahead and straight into your reading if you want. That's totally cool. That's why I put that information down there. I also put down in the description box the information you need if you want to get a personal reading with me. A few people have contacted me for readings, and they've reached out, and I'm clarifying this with all signs. If you are interested in a personal reading, please be aware that you're expected to pay for it. That's the whole purpose of it being personal, right? It's not a general where it's free and open to the public and you can take what messages resonate and be about your way, right? If you want something personal, you kind of have to pay for it. I'm also having slightly a little bit of an opposite effect where people are paying me or they're sending me money, but then they don't, tell me what they want. And I'm not going to accept money without someone getting something in return for it. So if you have purchased an order with me, if you've sent money to me, but you have not responded to an email, or you haven't given me a question or told me what you want covered in a tarot reading, please check your emails. Please email me back. I'm not just going to take people's money and not give them anything in exchange. That's not good karma, and it's just not good business practice. But just to clarify, if you want a personal reading, please pay me. And if you have paid me, please tell me what you want your reading to be about, okay? Anything else? Oh yeah, the link for the Instagram is down there. It's like, it used to be daily, but there's a lot going on with me right now, so I can't do it every day, but I do it most days. I do pull oracle cards, so I'm going to put right down here where that is. That's at EmpathicFire Tarot over on Instagram if you want to follow me, get some more insights into the things that I'm pulling for the collective. But I only do oracle cards over there thus far. I might eventually do like some pick a card stuff, or maybe like some other types of readings on there. We'll see what I'll do. But all right. I don't know what it is. Your energy, I have to tell you, Pisces, your energy makes me feel really sporadic, and it's making me feel kind of frazzled. And that was coming through as I was shuffling your cards, like doing the bridge to get your cards together. It wasn't flowing very well. So I don't know if it's you. I don't think it's me. I actually feel pretty good on my own. So I'm going to assume it's just your energy. But we'll see what happens when the cards come out, okay? All right, Pisces, let's get into it. I want to see messages for Pisces in mid-April, please. General messages and energies for Pisces in mid-April. Is that it? Okay. Okay, yeah. No, okay, one more. One more bridge. General messages and energies for Pisces in mid-April. Please show me. All right, let's go for it. Let's see. All right, 1, side position. Keep it. Keep it. Messages and energies for Pisces in mid-April. Ay, 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 ay. Okay. 2? Yeah, we'll start with these 2. So, first one, side position, Page of Cups. And then the Page of Pentacles in reverse. Interesting. All right. Some of you are like really shy right now, really demure, really, I hate to say it, like depressed. This energy feels really low. This energy feels really bogged down and stagnant. And that, again, that makes sense. You know, that opening where I was addressing COVID-19, coronavirus, and how that's affecting many of us. And your energy is just like kind of over it, and not over it in a way of like it's really affecting you emotionally. It's really affecting you mentally. This is really screwing with a lot of you Pisces. And if it's not you, it's someone that you're dealing with. Okay, it is a general, so it can go either way, but I'm going to address it as Pisces since this is your reading. And it just feels as though this is a really destabilizing time for you, and it's unhealthy for you to be in quarantine or living in the way that you're living. Now, that could be strictly being in the house. That could be being in close quarters with certain people. It can be related to being out of a routine, because I'm getting that from the Page of Pentacles in the reverse. There's a lack of a routine, or your routine has altered in a way, and it's beyond your job. You know, I mean, I didn't take it for, or I did, excuse me, I did take for granted, like the things I would do before or after going to work. Like, you know, that commute to and from work, a lot of shit gets done in that time. Like, you know, just like it's crazy. And then I find myself doing more of those things on the weekend. This is just me personally speaking. I'm not a Pisces, for those who don't know. So it's not that I'm in this energy, but I get what this is about, this lack of routine. It's beyond going to work and punching a clock. It's beyond taking your kids to school and dropping them off and then picking them up in the afternoon. It's just like, it's really destabilized. Your energy is like really having a hard time coping with this. Now, your Page of Cups, I haven't shown you a damn thing with these cards. Here you go, so you can see the artwork. So this Page of Cups, they had me keep it in this sideways position. And I sometimes do this. Hold on, I'm about to sneeze. All right, Pisces, I apologize about that. I had to sneeze, and I sneeze very loudly, so did not want to catch them on camera. So anyway, I sometimes keep cards in side positions, especially in personals. For generals, I usually don't, but this, like I said, this format is going to mimic how personals go a little bit. Anyway, this being in a side position for me, Pisces, is telling me, or it's giving me this feeling of like you've got one foot in and one foot out, or you're holding on by your fingernails, you're holding on by the tips of your fingers. It's really hard for you to maintain a positive outlook, a positive attitude, or even just like some of you are really finding it very hard to maintain a smile, to maintain this attitude of we're going to get through this. Now, I don't know if you are in this mode. Some of you might be, or you might be dealing with people this way who they're starting to get suspicious, and you know, this is kind of controversial to speak about, especially in a general tarot reading, but I'm getting the sense that maybe a few of you are, or you are dealing with someone who is a little suspicious of what exactly is going on regarding this pandemic, especially if you're here in the States. It might be the same in other countries, but we've had some interesting developments over the past 2 weeks or so with the general public. And the general public, some people are taking to the streets to protest. Now, I'm not seeing that, because this Page of Cups sideways and that Page of Pentacles in reverse is showing me like a lack of action. But some of you might be reading articles, listening to certain pundits, listening to certain podcasts or certain interviews, and you're kind of like, well, that doesn't make sense. And I'm not here to challenge you. This is not a political channel at all. If I did, I'd be on another platform, because to me, YouTube is just like, no, I would not be. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But I sense as though there's something suspect between these two. You're suspicious of the details of either the way the pandemic is being handled, or you're suspicious of even local authorities, right? It doesn't have to be national or federal. It doesn't have to be statewide that you're suspicious. It could be literally, you might have questions about local police enforcement or local, grocery store owners and how they're handling their business, how they're taking care of the community, something like that. But your energy isn't really forceful. I don't feel this is a forceful uh, personality right now. I feel that this is a very observational, because you're really tired, honestly, between the Page of Cups in the side position and this Page of Pentacles in the reverse. Like, your energy is super low. Pages are active cards, but they're not as active or as fearsome or as strong as, say, a knight, a queen, or a king would be, right? So you already come in at this low grade, quote unquote, low grade participation point. And this is practical. Pentacles relate to practicality. So you're not doing much practically. I think this is possibly all existing in your head or in your emotions, how you're feeling about the situation. You might not be expressing these ideas or this suspicion or this curious energy that you have regarding how this virus is being handled and the care of people and the logistics of everything. Like, you might have questions about it, but you're also kind of like, what can I do? Or I have no energy to fight this, something like that. And I really feel, and mind you, there's a coffee over here. Here, I'll show you. Dunkin', okay? I'm drinking coffee at the moment, but my energy is so low. I feel so tired, right? And that has to be through this reading. Now, I didn't say this before. Page of Cups, water sign energy, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. So there you are. And then Pentacles, earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. You could be dealing with any of those signs or none at all. It's a general, but that's just for those who may be curious or didn't know in the first place, okay? What else is going on for Pisces? Show me more, please. What else is going on for Pisces in mid-April? And Pisces, I would say try your best to recuperate, try your best to get rest and really release some of this, because okay, thank you. That's the other thing I'm feeling, is like this could also be unnecessary anxiety. Like, if you're okay here, and I've said this through most of the readings that I've done for mid-April and even back in April when this thing was, sort of getting off the ground, the whole quarantine thing. And I'm not saying use me as like your go-to, like your playbook, but I only watch the news once a day, and that's only during the week. I don't watch the news on the weekends, and I don't watch beyond an hour or an hour and a half every morning. I think there is a tendency in some energy around you or that you're participating in where it's a constant watching of the news cycle, constant watching of news feeds, constant watching of interviews and press briefings and all this stuff, and reading all kinds of articles and possibly not vetting those sources, possibly not vetting, just, it's too much. Overkill is what this feels like. This feels like too much is bearing down on one person, or there are two. Thank you. That's the thing about Pisces. You can you can take a little nibble of something and circle around that for a long time, almost obsessively. And I'm not trying to dog you out. I'm not trying to say, this is your own fault. I mean, just realize possibly how some of you tend to be. If there's one little bit of information that is transmitted to you, you might ponder on that little bit of information for weeks on end. For weeks, okay? So Pisces, cut yourself a break, release yourself from the news cycle, release yourself from the media for a little bit, unplug a little bit from these discussions that you're having with friends and family, and just rest. Take care of yourself, nurture yourself, treat yourself to something nice, eat some food, indulge in, just like break that cycle of worry and anxiety. This is not good. This is not good, straight up. So there we go. It's like the message wasn't complete. Let's get some more messages for Pisces. What else can we tell them here in mid-April? Pertinent information and messages for Pisces in mid-April. Please show me. For Pisces mid-April, please show me. 1, Further messages for Pisces in mid-April. Please show me. Okay, Six of Pentacles. And the card that came out before it was the Queen of Pentacles. Lots of earth energy. So you're either definitely dealing with the earth sign, or you have earth placements in your chart, or your physical 3D life is of significance right now. How you're living is really on your mind. Queen of Pentacles, again, earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. Could be a motherly figure in your life, or you are a mom, or there's just a particular feminine energy. It doesn't have to be a female, but a feminine energy that is really worried, really protective, really scared and nervous about what's happening next. And possibly this person has a tattoo on their arm. So you see that up on the upper arm there near the shoulder. Like, I don't think it is a tattoo, but that gave me the impression. So someone might have like a really ornate or very detailed tattoo on their arm, their upper arm. And anyway, more to the point, you've got this female who looks kind of distraught, a little like out of sorts, or possibly just like caught between a rock and a hard place sort of energy, but then cradling that rabbit and cradling these flowers and cradling and holding and hugging and nurturing, right? So, pardon me, I'm getting the sense that maybe there's a little bit of a possibly an overreaction in some cases, not all, but in some cases there might be an overreaction to something. Again, possibly because someone is too stuck in their head, too wrapped up in, you know, the media or news cycles, or just their own natural tendency to worry. Even if you don't indulge or you're not on a 24/7 feed of information, you could still, again, Pisces just has this tendency to take a little nugget of something, a little bite, and take that and like ponder it over and over. You're deep, you know, all water signs are deep. And Pisces tends to lend towards filling in the blanks. I find Pisces is probably the most imaginative or creative of the water signs. And so you're ruled by Neptune. And, you know, if you don't know about Neptune, that's the planet of dreams and illusions and delusions, fantasy. Okay. And I'm not calling you out. I'm not trying to say you are delusional or you are illusional. No, I'm trying to say there's this tendency to read into something more than what it is, or there's a tendency to give over to fantasy. You know, and if you guys have been with my channel for a while, you know, I know Pisces. I have Pisces that are in my life that are super enduring to me. Like, I love them beyond anything else. And I see this in them, and it's not a bad thing. Because again, I told you, I find that Pisces are super creative, super fun, super uplifting and enlightening. But then, you know, another thing that I say about Pisces is your sign is a dual sign. It's a sign of duality. You have two fish, all right? One is light and fluffy and very, you know, sunny and has a great disposition. And your other fish in the cycle, or in the imagery that we often see Pisces represented by, is the darker side of Pisces, that indulgent side of Pisces, that underbelly of Pisces, right? So this is what I'm feeling. I feel many of you are in that darker fish, that underbelly of Pisces, where you're giving into your not so great, quote unquote, not so great qualities. You can't help it. It's part of your makeup, right? You, Gemini, and Libra, the three of you kind of are known to be those dual signs. So what I feel is that someone is super taking something that they would worry about, but then kind of, you know, like, oh, well, you know, I can't do anything about it. But no, they're sitting and they're studying it. They're sitting and they're analyzing it. They're sitting and they're running all kinds of scenarios. It's sort of like Inception, or like The Matrix, or what's the other other movie? Sliding Doors or something like that. It's like one of those movies where you see a plot play out in 2, 3, 4, 5 different ways because of one incident. Based on this starting point, there's all these different trajectories or all these different pathways that the story can go. And I feel that you're doing that in your mind, like, to bring it back. And I don't want to talk in these terms because I don't want to feed into that, because I don't necessarily believe it needs affirmation, but some of you might be dealing with someone, or this is in your own mind where you're seeing what's going on outside your door, and now you're imagining, okay, so this is like the start of the apocalypse. What's going to happen if this happens? Okay, what's going to happen if that happens? And it's just like, that's very extreme. That's very extreme. And I don't want to, because I'm not anybody's personal, I don't know you personally. I'm not your therapist. I'm not your mother. I'm not your brother. I'm not anything to you personally. But I feel that's super extreme. This mindset, this fixation on what if, or how, well, if that happens, then I'll do this. And if that happens, I'll do that. I think that is also compounded if some of you are out of work, if some of you, like I said, you don't have your routines, like we were talking about with the Page of Pentacles in reverse. Without a routine, without some type of structure, the Queen of Pentacles can go overboard. And again, I'm like really struck today in this image of how she's cradling that rabbit and the look on the face. There's like a dissonance I'm feeling here, a dissonance. Oh, Lord. Okay, that's very specific. They're letting me know some people, because you don't have routine, because you don't have regular trips to see or regular appointments to see your doctors or your therapists, or what some of you may have been in recovery programs that have been shut down, physical therapy, Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous, whatever you were going through, some type of counseling that was helping you deal with addictions. Some of you, because those programs have been shut down or they've been moved to remote lessons or remote classrooms, and it's just not the same for you. That lack of structure, that lack of going and making physical movements in the world has triggered you back into addiction, back into some type of destabilized energy. This is not a stabilized energy. Not at all. And by the way, if this is not your message, keep in mind it's a general, and keep in mind if it doesn't resonate, please move on and let someone else take the message. Because not everybody out there, not all Pisces are dealing with this energy clearly. But for those that are, it's very, I would caution this group of Pisces, or the people that are dealing with someone like this. It is temporary. Everything that's going on outside in this world is mostly temporary. Okay. Now, the second part of the additional message that we had was the Six of Pentacles. So here we're talking about, yes, see, this is that fantasy. This is, oh God, nostalgia, right? Holding on to and reminiscing upon what used to be. Now, I'm not talking about when we all could go to the grocery store without masks on, and we could go to the movies and sit next to someone who was a stranger and not, think twice about it. No, this is like beyond that. This is like decades ago, someone might be thinking about what it was like in their childhood. And that is something I think a lot of people do, not just Pisces, to be a certain age, to be an adult for X amount of years. And then you're kind of like, man, what was life like when I was 7 years old? What was life like when I was like 11 years old? Man, it feels like a world apart. It feels like such a long time ago. And you could be thinking that and you're 25 years old. What was that, 15 years ago, right? Or 14 years ago, what have you. So there's something about going way, way back. Some of you are like, possibly to save you in the moment, to spare you from, going further down the rabbit hole. You might find yourself pulling out old photo albums. You might find yourself calling up old friends or relatives you haven't spoken to in a long time. And that is a saving grace. So the Six of Pentacles it feels like a deep dive into fantasy, into memory, but I think it's possibly to keep you from oh my God, I can't even talk, spiraling out in these other three cards. The Six of Pentacles feels like a good thing, even though it's kind of also not facing up to reality in a way. It could be particular to a specific person. Six of Pentacles is often treated in the deck as in the tarot deck as a relationship with someone of significance from your past. So this can be old friends, this can be old relatives and exes and roommates and all that kind of stuff that you reconnect with, sure. The other aspect that some people put into this is soulmate connection, and I'm not even going to entertain that too much because this is more about you than anybody else, Pisces, if I'm honest. If you're dealing with a soulmate, if you're recognizing or you want to hear that someone is your soulmate, cool, but they're not really that impactful outside of keeping you, grounded in a certain way. And if you've been with my channel before, I'm just noticing, for me, like oftentimes, and if you look at other videos I've produced for mid-April, I'm not saying you have to, but just like look at how I do the cards differently. Sometimes I'm stacking them, sometimes they're, in a sort of like a fan shape on the table here. Yours is the first one where I have these 4 cards distinctly separate, not touching each other. And I've kind of been fiddling with them, how they line up with the border of not the tapestry, the cloth here, how they line up with this bold line here, how this line meets the bottom of that. Some of you might have OCD. I don't, but this is how it's coming across. Some of you might have OCD. And if you see, I'm not even a therapist. I don't even know this stuff strictly from a professional sense, but I know the basics. I feel a lot of therapies for people with OCD involve rituals, right? Involve breaking rituals and creating new, more healthy rituals, or rituals that are less obsessive, right? So going to work, dropping the kids off from school on every Tuesday, I go to dance lessons. On every Wednesday, I go to a pottery class, and every Friday or every other Friday, I take my kids out to dinner. Like, that is what you know, and that is the structure that you built for yourself for several years. Now that has been dismantled, and some of you are finding yourselves coming back into certain obsessive cliques and coping mechanisms that are possibly detrimental to your mental and emotional self. And there's not much you can do about it if you can't go see your therapist, if you can or cannot, well, I would assume you cannot, for some of you, if you cannot access your medication, or you can't get a prescription refilled for medication that you might need that helps you with this imbalance, that's going to be a problem. And you really can't do much about it until society in certain form or fashion opens up again, and you get back to some semblance of normalcy. That's especially compounded because both of these are pages, Page of Cups, Page of Pentacles, and children have been coming up a lot in these mid-April readings, and it's not because me, myself, is a parent. No, I'm not. Me, myself is. Me, myself am. There you go. Or whatever. I am not a parent. But it's coming up a lot because the aspect of children who are home 24/7 is really just beyond it being possibly annoying or frustrating for a parent to deal with their child on a high level like that, on a constant basis like that. It also, again, dismantles and screws up any type of previous scheduling and any type of routine that was already there. That is, again, really screwing with some people, because I believe in many states or school districts that school is out. That's it. See you in September. See you in the fall, students. And that's crazy. So even if a parent does end up going back to work, say in June or July, the kids are still going to be home. I mean, that's summertime mostly anyway, but still, it's just crazy. This whole situation is crazy. And yours is the first reading I've done so far, Pisces, that has dealt so much with the outside world. Again, Pentacles, 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 the outside world, the physical world, the 3D world. What is going on in your day-to-day? This is not, oh boy. Let's get some more messages, and then we're going to close it up. Final messages for Pisces at this time in mid-April. Final messages for Pisces, please. I don't know what you're supposed to do with this message. Maybe some of you just need clarification. Maybe some of you just need some encouragement. I'd say, as best as you can, doctor yourself, nurture yourself, because the Queen of Pentacles is naturally a nurturer, is naturally a caretaker. And if you have to, take a personal day and tell your husband, your wife, your partner, listen, see, Ace of Swords. Tell your partner, tell whoever lives with you, listen, I need to unplug today. I just need a day to myself. My mental, my emotional is just not what it needs to be. and I can't do it. There's something about I can't do this or I can't do that because it's in a disarray. And I laugh so much because that's the Ace of Swords. Let me see if there's anything else. Any final messages for Pisces, please, in mid-April? Thank you. So it feels like Ace of Swords and the King of Cups. Tell them what you're feeling. Tell whoever needs to hear it, your partner, your roommates, your children, if they're old enough to digest this information, if they're old enough to hopefully be able to take care of themselves a little bit, not entirely, but a little bit. If you're dealing with, children that are 12 and up, 13 years old, 14 years old, and you need a me day, you need a home spa day, please, take care of yourself for 5 hours. I just need a nap. I need a hot soak and a bath. Some of you need to meditate. Some of you do need to work on coping with your lack of routine. Express this to whoever is there to help you. I feel many of you live with partners, children, family, roommates. If you live alone, reach out to somebody and express what needs to be expressed, because the Ace of Swords above that King of Cups is telling me this is what has to happen. Well, this is what would be helpful to you. To express a need or express the complications of what you're feeling, the complications of what you're dealing with, the complications of this lack of stability in your life and how it has really fucked with your head or fucked with your emotions. No need to spin this, no need to cookie coat this. This has really fucked a lot of you guys up internally. And Pisces, water signs all, are, as much as you guys are the sign, water is equated with emotions and expression, right? As much as all three water signs are embodied with that energy, all three of you, to a certain extent, do not express or have a hard time expressing yourselves, have a hard time putting to words what you're feeling. You can feel what you're feeling and you can recognize it and possibly quite clearly what you're experiencing, but to tell another person, to get another person to understand it, or to get another person to be sympathetic, or to get another person to recognize it, you're kind of like, I don't know how to do that. And it's just like, you better figure it out. And I'm not saying it in a way of, or punishment is going to come upon you, or the worst of the worst is going to happen. No, I think that's sort of the struggle of it. The same way that a fire sign like myself, we have all kinds of emotions and all kinds of passions and all kinds of drive and fervor inside of us, but to get people to understand our motivation, or to get people to understand why we do and say the things that we do, that's our struggle. I'm passionate about this. Aren't you passionate about this too? And other people are looking at a fire sign, an Aries, a Leo, Sagittarius, no, what? That doesn't make any sense. So I understand the apprehension, and I understand that some of you might struggle with that, but I ultimately think it's very vital in this moment for you to do that work, for you to try your best to tell people what you need. I need this for my well-being. This is what I need. For my well-being, this is what I need. Water sign energy, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces again. So your reading has mostly been Pentacles and Cups. The sword is the outlier. The Ace of Swords is the odd man out. The one thing that is kind of here, but is not as powerful or not as accessible, or it's harder for you to make a connection with that energy of speaking, of being articulate, and getting people to understand where your head is, right? King of Cups, master of emotions, right? But then also, again, not really expressive. All the kings, to a certain extent, don't really express themselves. And the irony, like I was explaining about when I was describing all three water signs, you can have all the emotions in the world and beyond, Pisces. You, Cancer, and Scorpio, all three of you can feel the feelings like a boss. You can feel the feelings, but can you express them? Can you tell other people in detail what you're feeling? And that's the other thing. From what I've understood about Pisces, and as a person myself who has feelings, I get this way sometimes too. You can be so inundated and overwhelmed with emotions that you don't know where to start. You don't know which emotion came before the other. You don't know, and that's the other thing. For those that remember, what's that movie called? Oh, what's that movie? It's a Disney movie or a Pixar movie. Um, where it was like the different emotions inside this girl, and she had sadness and disgust and rage or anger, and then like anxiety or fear, something like that, and then she had joy, and joy was like the main emotion in there. Whatever, I forget what this movie is called, but I know many of you guys know what that movie is. And at the end of that movie, as the young girl was maturing. She was going from like pre-adolescent to being like an adolescent. They showed, which I guess was supposed to be a precursor to like a sequel, they showed that the emotions began to blend together. So like joy would mix with like fear, or happiness, or whatever. Rage would mix with the disgust. So you get these complex compounded emotions that I think many people, I think they were kind of nodding to modern psychology that recognizes, emotions are often not put in a box. For 5 minutes I was angry, and then 5 minutes after that I was absolutely overjoyed. No, you can feel both of those things at the same time, or they're quite overlapping, right? That might be the complexity of what you're trying to express to people. How you might be smiling one moment, or smiling in the moment, but on the inside you're like crying your little soul out. Does that make sense? So it might be, again, a reaction to, or exacerbated because of everything that's going on with quarantining and social distancing and all that kind of stuff. That might be sort of exacerbating or highlighting what is possibly a normal thing going on for some of you. Others of you, it is strictly in reaction to the circumstances that we're living in, to these sudden changes and lack of routine, or new types of structure that, you get what I'm saying. For those that need it, I think you get what I'm saying. I would encourage you to talk to someone professionally, a friend, an old coworker, whatever. Reach out and talk to somebody. And if you have no one to talk to, or it makes you too embarrassed, or you're too nervous, or you're too anxious about it, write it down. This is, again, I know Pisces has this tendency to keep it all bottled in and to not really let it out. But I'm telling you, this holding it in, it feels really bad. It feels incredibly bad to be holding this much in. Like, this is like at critical mass. You know what I mean? Like the dam is about to burst. So before the dam bursts and causes a huge catastrophe, you should really try to, alleviate some of that pressure. Okay? Let's get you an oracle card, and then we're going to wrap up. If you hear the tapping, it's because my hands run over the decks when I ask my guides to choose which oracle deck for Pisces, please. Which oracle deck for Pisces, mid-April 2020? It's between these two. Thank you. Ooh, they're really having a hard time choosing between these two decks. Okay, thank you. Goddess Guidance Oracle cards. All right, let's get into it. Let's get let's get a Oracle card for Pisces in mid-April 2020, and an Oracle card for Pisces for mid-April 2020. Mid-April 2020, Oracle card for Pisces. Oh yeah, that's good. Thank you. All right, let's see. Excuse me. Show me the Oracle card for Pisces, please. Show me. Divine Passion. Be honest with yourself. What is your heart's true desire? Okay. Pele, I believe is how you would say that. I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. The names of these goddesses, you think it's one thing, and then boop, nope, that's not it. Let me see. Let me jump to the back of that guy. Yeah, Pele, I was right. Okay, cool. Pele, Divine Passion. Message from Pele. If you listen to the sound of your heart and breath, You'll recognize the ancient rhythms of your own internal drumming. This forever connects you to the mother of all creation and to the sound of planet Earth. These rhythms can't be faked or forged. They're natural and eternal. What part of you are you trying to ignore? What part of you has been overly concerned with pleasing others to the detriment of hearing the sounds of your own rhythm? Dear child, reach out and extend your arms to embrace your dreams. They're just as much a part of nature as are the trees, animals, and sunsets. Don't Oh, yeah. Don't your own dreams deserve the same respect that you accord everyone and everything that you love? Listen to them, my child. Listen to your dreams. They'll activate the power eruption of passion in your life. Don't be afraid of your own passion, for it will propel you naturally and will excite and invigorate you. When you dance the rhythms of your life, you're truly alive in all ways. Okay. So, yeah. So, various meanings of this card. Make sure your career matches your true interests. Take a class or start a hobby that really excites you. Change jobs. Go on a wonderful trip. Invest time and money in manifesting your dreams. Give yourself permission to go for it. Start a new business. Make an honest assessment of how you spend your time. List your priorities. Now, this is, I think, giving some really, like, again, grounded advice. Pentacles, 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 right? A lot of grounded advice for you to actually make efforts to change your outlook, right? So as much as you can, or as much as you might not like it, taking online courses at this time, even though you're sitting in your living room that you've seen for the past 6 weeks, day in, day out, might be enough, or might be enough to sustain you for a while, to break up that monotony or break up this disabled energy that you have, Pisces. Some of you, this whole time, this could have been a wake-up call to change your career, or change, become more aligned with your dreams, with your passions, with the things that drive you to success or drive you to be fulfilled in life. You might be reevaluating that in some type of case. But I'm going to stick to what I felt this was mostly about. I think for most of you, this is a deep rift that you're feeling in your routine. And some of you really love having certain schedules in your life, and those schedules have been scrapped, been put on the shelf, been canceled indefinitely, and you're wanting to go back to that. And I think the nostalgia of just wanting to go back isn't enough. For the time being, we have to create new passions, new ways to see ourselves through our day-to-day life and activities. Okay. So Pisces, that is your reading. Oh my gosh, for mid-April. If you liked it, the like button is down below. Go ahead and hit that for me. If you want to leave a comment, let me know how this resonated in your life. That would be great. I'd love to read that. Feel free to share this video with others to let them know you like my stuff. And friends, if you have not subscribed, consider subscribing. Thank you. The number continues to go up. New clients are coming on board. I'm enjoying meeting everybody and working with everybody. So if you want to become a part of that crew, feel free to do so. You don't have to if you don't want to, clearly, but I would love to have you on board if you would like to come aboard, okay? My friends, I will be back soon with your May messages and your mid-May messages, Pisces. Again, if you want a personal, the information is down in the description box. Follow me at IG. That info is also down in the description box, okay? Pisces, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Take care.